Okay. It creates a full new profile, and it basically creates a composite between the new solar return, your next year, this is your next year, and this is you. So it's going to be reading pretty much like a composite profile, but I keep moving back and forth between this is you, right? Yeah. And this is your return.
Okay.
I keep moving back and forth because I need to see, for example, if I notice that there's channels that you don't have at all and the solar returns brings to you. Obviously, I can see them here as well as dominance. But those would be your biggest lessons of the next year. So yeah, I think next year the biggest lesson will be the 2750. Yes.
Okay, what's that?
It's part of the caring circuitry, but it's tribal and it's all about caring. It's the gate 50 is about responsibility. And this is the channel of the parenthood image, of the person taking care, assuming responsibility. It can be a mother figure, a father figure, but not necessarily the mom and dad that support it. It can be the aunt that guides you. So that's kind of appealing. And this, from my own experience of the last year when I read my own transit, these people will show up in your life. People with this channel will show up in your life exactly like this. They will have the full channel and they will have dominance. And you are meant to notice how it works in them because it will be something that you'll need to incorporate in your life.
Okay.
But to recognize them, besides obviously looking at their chart, is this thing. It's a bit of a motherly, nurturing figure. It's a very nurturing channel. It's the caring channel. And these people might want to guide you because I'm looking what gates where it is activated, and it's activated by the nodes. So the gate 50 is activated by the south node, and the 27 is activated by the north node. The nodes are always about direction. So motherly figures, nurturing persons that give you direction will show up, will pop up. People trying to give you direction.
Is this normal at like my age? Because is it your north node that you grow into and your south node that you come into the world as?
Yes.
Or is it the other? Yeah, so because I think my north node is Cancer, and that's the nurturing, caring, motherly kind of energy.
Yes.
So is it like at this age that we kind of
start being nurturing? Yeah, and you might notice people showing up that energy as something you should embody. Friends popping up with this.
Okay, but that's some nice news.
Bosses. It can be a very nurturing boss. It can be a very nurturing person. This is the only educational channel you have. The rest of them are either personal, so something happening to you on a personal level, or environmental. And I'm going to look at the personal ones first. The personal ones are the ones that form electromagnetic connections. So you have 1, 2, 3. Wait, I think you have, you have another educational channel. Let me see, because 63, the one that's in transit right now, it's purely educational. Yes, educational channel. Yes. Now this is the channel of mutation. And the channel of mutation, again, people will show up, but this is more developmental, so they might not be as in your face. So there might be colleagues or least personal people, but they will show up. I don't know, clients, somebody which you interact briefly, because they're not in the closer planets. It's activated by Jupiter and Pluto. So it's more developmental. It's more something like, I don't know, maybe you take a course and somebody has that channel. But it's going to show up like that. And this is the channel of mutation. So whoever shows up, it's gonna deliver something that will change you. It's the channel that goes from caterpillar to butterfly. It's the channel of maturation, growth, yeah, that kind of energy. And somebody will come in, it's an educational channel. It will gonna be quite brief encounters. It can be one person or more people. But it will be something that somebody delivers that helps you grow.
Okay.
It's going to be something developmental for you. Now, educational channels 2. I had these 2. Personal connections. I counted them well, 3, yes. Now, the 3 personal, as good news as the developmental were, I think the personal people are not as good news, because the 36 is bringing in crisis. The 55 is bringing in moodiness. And the 37 is bringing in personal connections. It's bringing in the belonging. It's the tribal energy. So all of them are on your emotional solar plexus. So you are most likely will have a very emotionally turbulent year.
No.
And these kind of people will pretty much be in your face, and it's mostly third liners and second liners. With third liners, you should be quite used to them, as you are a third liner yourself.
Yeah.
And hermits, but these are personal connections, people who will show up with either 36, 55, or 37. And this will feel like it's about you. It will either feel like somebody is trying to purposely trigger you, or something. It's gonna feel like a one-on-one, regardless if they're relationships, regardless if they develop or if they are short encounters. Even if they're short encounters, they will feel very personal. And the lessons is you are meant to recognize something outside of yourself. There's going to be sparks. There's going to be triggers. There's going to be, it's going to be something that the good thing about it is, so the whole thing about rave return, about the solar return, is the fact that it gives you sort of the weather forecast, what's going to look like. And when you meet these people, you can already recognize, okay, this is the lesson I meant to learn. Okay, this is the person meant to trigger me. And you can already see what the triggers are and what that person is meant to trigger in you. Even though they will bring in crises, they will bring in moodiness, those would be emotions that will come and go, but they might deliver something else. They might create a connection that will matter, the thing is, the solar return only tells you you're gonna have a personal connection with the 36, for example. But
Yeah.
the person that comes in with that 36 is a full person with their own profile, with their own authority, with their own not self teams. And even though the spark is supposed to be the 36, you're going to deal with a full person, and other things that that full person brings might trigger you or might deliver a lesson. We can only see that, yeah, you're going to have a crisis with somebody next year.
Okay.
So yeah, the 36, the 55, and the 37, and the others are environmental. Environmental, you have again three, yes, 47, 52, the gate of stillness, and 2. They're all quite beautiful.
That's good.
So the 52 is, these are environmental. What does environmental mean? Is pretty much things you start noticing the world. And for example, the gate 52 is the gate of stillness. And you might notice that people around you are more calm, or they're more still, or you surround yourself in environments where you can relax. It's gonna feel like a slowdown. Then you have the gate 2, also environmental, which is the gate of the receptive. And this is really, really nice to have as an environmental. It's in Jupiter. It's really nice to have it as environmental because it's going to feel like people are open, a more opening in your environment, a more receptivity, probably even to your own influence, to your own projections. But the themes that will show up are stillness, receptivity, and the 47 is pretty much about, it's about going back into the past and getting back stronger. So looking at weaknesses and developing them. Yes, internal weaknesses, developing them as external strengths. But these are not happening specifically personally to you. This is something that you will notice that people start doing. You might follow it or you might not. This is a freedom of will kind of thing. It's not just something that will be in your environment. Now, the inner planets that are the moon, whatever this is, Mercury, Venus, and Mars. So the 4 planets, the inner planets. These are people. These are specific people that come in. And like I said, you deal mostly with second liners, some 5-liners, and 1-liner, first liners. Yeah, first line, mostly second and fifth. And for a big part, second. So you're going to deal with a lot of hermits, which makes sense in all the stillness and receptivity that you have in the chart. It makes sense that you deal with hermits. And usually it's a change in social circles. So if you already have people in your social circles, and you might notice that some years, sometimes you get along better with a certain friend, and somehow they just distance themselves, and some other friend takes front side, and then they distance. These things happen in everybody's lives. Now, the second line people in your life might take a much more first place. They might feel much closer. They might feel more, yeah, taking a main character, a best friend, a best colleague.
Okay.
How long are you until your birthday?
It's in August, so is that 3 months?
Yeah, like me. So you just entered basically. Yeah, you
Yeah.
just entered now your 14 May, your period.
Oh, does it start from the design
Yes.
date? Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay. Oh,
Now,
maybe that explains, because I've been very emotional recently.
yeah, you might feel it starting from now.
Okay.
Starting from 14th of May. And now it's a weird period because your design is basically in this solar return. Your design is already here. Your design is already living this. And your personality is still trying to make sense of what's happened last year. So these 3 months are not ideal for making life-changing decisions, because there will be a bit of an inner conflict in you, whether to move forward or to keep doing what you are doing. That's how it's gonna feel, the inner conflict.
But if I have to make life-changing decisions, then that's fine. I just need to be a bit more careful.
Exactly. If you have to make life-changing decisions, of course it's fine, but you just have to be aware that if there's some pull inside you, that's where it's coming from.
Okay.
So the nodes describe the direction. And yeah, as I said, you have the 5027 and you have the 3 and the 28 again.
Of course.
28 is following you always.
I can't get rid of it. To be fair, I should be an expert in it now.
So the nodes of the moon give direction for all your year. So it's gonna be, again, the direction is gonna be mostly hermiting. So you might feel like you want to hermit a bit this year. You have the nodes in the second and the third line. This is not a profile. This doesn't exist as a profile. So you're going to move from your natural third line state into a more hermit state, back and forth as a direction. But only the first 3 months from here until your birthday will be a bit destabilizing. You will feel like there's a change in direction. You will feel the need to hermit all year long, but in these 3 months, the need to hermit will be like unusual, or uncomfortable, or it will impact you differently in these 3 months. And the outer planets are all about a built-in learning process. And as far as I can see, most of your built-in learning process is the 5th line. So dealing with projections, but you'd be used to it.
Yeah.
And it's the 60 that we already discussed. There's an educational channel. The 36 that I discussed, that is coming in as a person. It's going to be personal. It's going to be somebody coming in, and it's going to most likely be a 5th liner. And it's in detriment, so it most likely going to be some sort of conflict, the crisis.
Okay.
Then you have the 23. The 23 will be very, very active for you this year. So speaking up would be a very huge thing. You have it 4 times in the chart next year. So as the chart goes, it pretty much takes the space of how usually 28 is for you.
Okay.
It's many, many times 23.
I'll take that over 28.
Yeah, you might find yourself saying, I know a lot. The 55, the 2, 3, yeah. As an unemotional, my guess is that the most, I mean, look, the transit is unemotional because obviously it's close to your birthday. And you are unemotional, but when you put it together, it's highly emotional.
Oh, okay.
So,
the lessons are going to come in there.
Yes, the lessons that are going to come in are going to feel very personal, especially because it's no dominance. There's no educational thing. It's going to be emotional triggers, basically. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm looking at the notes I was writing about the outer planets because, well, the outer planets are developmental. And Ra said that to not focus on the exact gates, like to just take the general feel of, okay, it's fifth liners, it's sort of like mostly this. Because and somebody asked him, well, aren't we here to learn these energies? And he said, well, you can't learn them unless you participate in the learning. So you have to actually live this process. What you are getting from a solar return is basically a weather forecast, but you can't avoid the weather. You know that it's coming, you can bring in a jacket, but you can't avoid the weather. You still have to live through it so you can learn the lessons. And I think maybe, why is this one more important with a star? The 56. Is the fifth, do you have the 56 in your chart? Yes, you usually have it.
Yeah.
You usually have it where? Oh, you usually have it in Venus, and this time it's in Mars. Oh, this, okay. This will be the reactivations. Usually we don't see them unless we don't operate as ourselves. When we don't operate as ourselves, then these become highlighted things, especially when they are reactivated. So 23 will become highly active, and 56 will become also active, but it will become a bit more like expressing your ideas no matter what. It's in Mars, so it's gonna be a bit more determined than it's usually in your chart. And the 28 is reactivated as well, but I don't see where is it reactivated. Oh, in the notes. Yeah, the direction. I already told you about it. I remember now.
Yeah.
So those are the reactivations. Oh, and 49 is a reactivation, but that's going to be purely environmental.
Okay.
And it's holding on to principles. It's quite a clean chart, so to say.
In what way?
In the sense that you have three personal connection, three environmental teams, four gates that reactivate. They don't jumble up a lot. It's not a lot of change from one to the other. Obviously for Yose, because she's turning 50 and she's a sixth liner, I did her Chiron return, and her charts are completely different one from the other. But yeah, this is it. You are the third person to read this. I've already only done it for the community, obviously. I've done it for Tanya in the community, for Yose, and for you. And I'm obviously you're gonna see more how useful it is next year.
Yeah.
When you tell me if these things actually played out. But I just wanted to see if it's in any way useful or.
I think it is useful. Like, I think obviously with these energies that are due to come in, especially because for the personal energies, got a few nice ones in there. I think it'll be nice to, I guess, just to have that awareness for when things are happening, then I'll be like, oh, okay. Just have that kind of extra comfort.
Yes.
In knowing that why things are happening. It's not that you can do anything about it, or I'm not gonna be sitting there assessing the whole situation of everything that's happening, but it's like just that inner awareness of like, oh, okay, this is what it is. And
yes.
Although it's gonna be challenges, at least you kind of know, and it just gives you more comfort in riding that wave, I guess.
Exactly. For me, I read my previous year. I'm entering the period between my design and my birthday on the 21st. I'm also in August born. And I did mine for last year. And mine for last year, I had only one educational channel, which was the 4323. And I had a lot of personal connections. And yeah, exactly like you said, just noticing on the chart, I would go like, okay, that's why it happened. It makes it a bit easier to, I wouldn't say let go, because you don't let go fully. I mean, triggers are triggers, they still happen. But seeing that there is a purpose to it, and it's the background program, and it's just something that's going to happen anyway, it makes it a bit easier to observe it and see, okay, how does this play out?
Yeah. And I think obviously because I'm unemotional generally, it's kind of, I don't feel like I've had that much I have had emotional things. Obviously I have things that emotional energy is everywhere, isn't it? But I think things like having a crisis things and moodiness and all of that kind of stuff more prominent on a personal level. I guess it gives you those situations. So because I've been working on a lot of things and obviously trying to decondition within that solar plexus, it kind of gives me the opportunity to, I guess, see how far I am. see how aware I am of things, so yeah. I mean, I could do without the crises, I'm not gonna lie.
For me, I think this year the channel of moodiness has been the most destabilizing. Every time it came in transit, my emotions went completely crazy. I don't do well with the moodiness. Although it's an individual channel. So it's supposed to pulsate. It's supposed to be just a brief encounter. But I think I amplify it and I keep it in. Because every time it was in transit, I was pretty much in PMS for a full week.
Is that the channel that you said? I remember when we were doing the circuits. Is that one of the kind of really dominant channels?
Yes, it's very uncomfortable to be amplifying somebody else's moodiness.
Okay.
Because you're gonna amplify their senses of mood. I think of the two individual channels, I prefer the 1222. It's a bit more direct. Yeah, okay. Ra describes it as a bit manipulative. But it's still a bit more, I feel it a bit more straightforward than the moodiness channel. The moodiness channel holds me a bit longer in the wave. And the 3536 is my sister. And this channel is the channel of experiential. And this is considering it's on a personal level. This might pretty much sound exactly like what's going to happen to you next year. It's somebody trying to drag you in their experience. The issue is they have no idea what they're doing. The 3536 never knows what they're doing. I can notice it. They are willing to, I'm going to tell you exactly the example from the Russ course. He said that the 3536 is on one side of the river and tells everyone around him how great it is on the other side. He's never been there. He has no idea what's like there. But it tells everybody how great it is on the other side until they find someone and convince them to go with them on the other side. And while on the river, there's crocodiles, their boat breaks, and all the crises possible happen. But this person is still optimistic that it's so great on the other side that this whole effort is worth it. This whole crisis is worth it. And that's how people with the full 3536 operate. I see it exhausts me because I see it in my sister. And I keep asking, how do you know? Now she's telling me that she wants to move to Belgium. And it's going to be great. And the education is how good. How do you know? Have you ever been to Belgium? That's my first line, because I would need to investigate everything before moving to Malta. I already knew almost all Romanians living in Malta. I already socialized for almost a year with people living in Malta, both Maltese and Romanians. So I had to know firsthand how it's like living there.
Yeah.
But for her, it's like, honestly, every week she's telling me she's moving somewhere else.
I want a peaceful year. Just want a peaceful year.
And environmentally, it's going to be quite peaceful with the gate of stillness, the gate of receptivity, the receptive, and the 47, which is a bit introspective. Environmentally, it's going to be, the general feel is going to feel quite peaceful. The general lessons will feel quite maturing, both of them. One of them is literally the channel of maturation, and the other one is the channel of nurturing. So they both will feel quite growth, maturing. Yeah. The personal experiences will be a bit of up and down, but without any up and down, without any roller coaster, would it be even worth it?
Okay.
I hope it helped you, and I hope I'm gonna send you also the recording so you can see it next year and
Yeah.
see if it matches. I think I'm gonna upload it on YouTube unpublished and send it to you. I might even publish it in the community.
Okay.
I found something else, and I'm gonna publish them all in the community. I found a series of, I think, 4 readings done by Ra. So Ra reading charts of other people, and I thought it's very interesting to see exactly him doing a reading.
Yeah.
And I found 4 of them. Unfortunately, they're all projectors. I couldn't find that. I didn't find any reading done by him of generators, manifestor, anything else. But it's interesting to see how he looks at gates, how he looks at things, and yeah, I'm gonna post them as well. It's just that it's super slow. I'm posting at the same time even the gene keys, and it's super slow process. But I'm trying. The readings by Ra and this reading should be quite fast because it's done. I don't have to do them in Canva. For the gene keys, I do them in Canva and then upload them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was looking at the gene keys yesterday because I've started doing the pearl. Yeah. So I went into yours because mine's 46, but because I thought you'd done them all, but I understand because it's super slow.
Something really interesting happened to me about prosperity. I mean, 1 week into the prosperity sequence, this happened. I've had one thing financial-wise, surgery that I have to do in Romania that I kept postponing, that I kept saying I can't afford it, I'm gonna do it later, it's okay. And I was literally discussing it with my sister that, oh, whatever, I don't know if I'm doing it. Yes, I will go to Romania, but I don't think I'll do the surgery now. And the surgery became urgent in that night. Like, I discussed with my sister Sunday over a pizza, and that night the surgery became a sudden emergency, and I called my mom and I told her, okay, make me the appointment. And I was like, it was the one thing that I was holding on that I can't afford it, and now I have to make it. I mean, it's the decision was taken in my name. I didn't decide.
Yeah. It's kind of crazy when you see things happen that get triggered from doing the gene keys as well.
Yeah.
Things that, I mean, some things you're like, oh, but I mean that as well. But I suppose it's good that it came up as urgent rather than not knowing that it was urgent. So
yes.
Yeah.
And yeah, I guess if the universe decided, the universe will provide, so I'm not gonna stress about it.
Yeah.
It usually works like that. As the 29th usually works like that. I first have to commit, and then it works out.
Put something good on there.
For example, it's a dental thing. It was 2 years ago. I did implants in the back. And when I did the implants, it was exactly the same way. Actually, I knew I needed 2 implants, but in Malta, they're super expensive. And I saw a commercial online from Romania, and I knew I would be going to Romania. And I just messaged them to see how much they are. And they were quite huge difference. And they also had the promotion. And they told me, okay, we're making you an appointment when you arrive. Wait, what? Oh, whoa, what? No, okay. I had the appointment, I went, I did it, and they put me temporary crowns on them so they won't be heavy until the wound heals. And I kept staying with the temporary crowns until now, when one of the crowns fissured a bit. And I was like, okay, now I can't stay with it any longer. I have to go do it. That's that.
Yeah.
And I did the appointment, and last time the money came in, you know when the money came in? When I was inside the office.
Oh wow, that's really last minute then.
Yeah, I was literally there in the office looking at the bank transfer, still waiting for the transfer to happen. But it worked, so I'm gonna trust it this time as well, especially since it's pretty much half the money it was the first time round, because the first time round was the whole surgery, now it's just the outer layer, the lookout.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm gonna go in Romania next month and I'm gonna chat with you from Romania.
How long are you gonna go for?
I'm gonna stay for about 6 weeks.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so I'm gonna chat, do the coffee chats from there. And I already told everyone that, yeah, you will have to get used to the fact that I'm working during the night.
Yeah.
They're not used to it in Romania. For them, night is for partying pretty much.
You'll do your calls and then you'll be out partying.
Okay, so see you probably tomorrow. Jose is joining as well, she said.
Yeah.
All right.
I'll see you tomorrow.
See you.
All right
Bye.
then. Thank you very much.
Bye.
Bye.